Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Explore the Spectrum. Today I'm joined with Amber Nelms. She is the founder and CEO of an ABA clinic that is one of the more uniquely designed clinics. How are you doing today, Amber?
I'm doing fantastic. I am really happy to be here. So thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, I'm thrilled for you to join us. The reason I say that you're a unique clinic is because not only do you practice ABA because you have a personal testimony the same way I do. We have children that are on the spectrum that have utilized these services, but your clinic is owned 100% by clinicians and you have a nonprofit arm of it. So tell us some about your uniqueness. What makes y'all different than most of the other ABA clinics that we might see popping up around?
Sure. Well, you already put a lot of them out there, but one interesting, unique factor is I have been in every position possible in the fact that I am a parent of a child on the spectrum. So I understand that perspective. So when thinking through how to build out information for group family training, I can put that hat on and remember what that was like. I was an RBT at one time. So when thinking through things like even scheduling for our RBTs, we make sure to consider we don't want to have an RBT with one client for too terribly long, no longer than 3 hours at a time, and then we switch. So and then of course I was a BCBA after that, and so I know things like how do you have like materials for your BCBAs ready to go so they can be able to help their clients and be able to get doing the work of behavior analysis and actually analyzing the data and thinking through how to write really good programs. So I think that's a pretty unique factor. Most companies now are owned by people that have no idea what it's like to do the actual work and think about the factors and the considerations. Why I think that's why we're seeing a lot of issues in the field nowadays where it's not personalized. It's not considering the real factors of like individual human beings that are a part of that's the whole point, right? We're supposed to be helping transform hopefully people's lives for the better. And so that is a very unique factor because everything is done with intention and thinking through each one of those factors. And yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about the intentionality and strategic part that is considered, but I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it does. And you know, it is. It's an important factor to think about the practicality of being a parent. You have this polarized opinion on ABA so often where people are either really for it or they're really not. And I think that at the heart of ABA, it can be very clinical and cold. But when you add in those factors of that humanism that you're talking about and that perception of being a parent and kind of recognizing these children for their uniqueness, when you start doing that, you become the unicorn. And the people that I hear and talk to that love ABA, it's because they're working with an ABA professional that has that perspective. And, you know, that is the special sauce. That is something that you have to bring to the table. I'm glad that you've been able to see it from so many perspectives and be able to help our families in a unique perspective in that way. Now, when you're talking about the nonprofit arm of it, that's very interesting to me. So you have a nonprofit arm of an ABA center that is doing good works, not just here in our country, but around the world. That's incredibly what's the word I'm looking for? It's just encouraging, I guess, is the best word, to see somebody branch out and do good in other areas. Tell me a little bit about that, please.
Sure, I'd love to tell you about that. Everything I do is born out of something that I found difficult, honestly, or that I knew there needs to be something done. I actually lived in India for 5 years, and I even tried to get services for my child overseas. So I saw how difficult, how challenging it was. And so the two things I promised myself was that if my son was able to make progress, that I would give back to the field and start a center, and that I would do something internationally and not forget all the moms I left in India behind to go to the US and get amazing ABA services, which I did. And so the dream of the nonprofit has been so exciting because I had to continue building a team here in the US that cared about that so we could be able to do the international work. Because as many people know, a lot of people, especially in India or many different countries, Indonesia, I bet, Thailand. I have traveled a lot overseas, and most of them do not have medical insurance. Most of the families there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then even if they did, it wouldn't cover ABA. So then you're stuck with, and there's no BCBAs, hardly overseas. There are some, but they're just not enough. So how do we reach those families? We reach those families by having a program where we really train up the families to be the therapist, because that is actually something, again, I tested out myself. I was in transition between living in India and getting my child services and eventually fully shifting to move to the US. But guess what? I was getting trained almost as an RBT myself to keep working on my child's programs while I was still internationally. So I know it's possible. I know it is. And so we are launching our first trip to take clinicians. And my dream is to bring together a lot of other BCB owned companies to join in together, because that's what we were saying right in the beginning. There needs to be more clinician owned companies out there that care about the good work, a way to advance them, because it can't only just be about Triangle ABA, in my opinion. I want ABA that is high quality to make it for everyone. And how do we uplift each other? By coming together, and also for them to see the need overseas. So, and have a good time. So we're going to go over there, train up people, and then the families that are selected will have already gone through an online training first. And then the support of really doing in vivo training will happen in person, and then be supported through an online platform, so that they can fade out and hopefully keep that going as much as possible.
That's incredible. I love that. And, when you mentioned that you were going to go over there and there weren't many different professionals already in this industry in that area, my first thought was, so it must be that you're going there to train professionals. And to hear that we're training professionals and parents is wonderful, because, so often a parent is going to be able to not only utilize that discipline 24 hours a day, but they're going to be able to apply it accordingly and know where to push and where to pull a little bit better with their child than maybe others. That's one of the beauties of being able to get at-home services when and where you can, because when you see a professional work with your child, it registers in your mind as a parent going, that's something I can do with this. And, I can apply that here. And so, we're constantly, or at least I feel like we as parents are constantly taking note, right? We're trying to learn from them. So thank you for going overseas and doing that. If somebody's wanting to reach out to you, if they're wanting to support this international initiative that you're doing, or if they're wanting to get a hold of you for services in the North Carolina area, how does somebody find you?
Honestly, I would recommend just going on triangleaba.com, because you'll be able to get to the nonprofit website as well. There is a link up above, the Global Behavior and Wellness Alliance. So either way, it's if typing my name even into Google, of course, it's going to come up with Triangle ABA. Get on our website there if you need services in Raleigh, triangleaba.com. And then if you would like to contribute towards the nonprofit, that would be amazing. And there is a link on the website for that as well.
Well, I am sure glad that you joined us today and that you helped us look at things through a different lens. It's always appreciated. So thank you for being on. And for all of our other viewers, thank you again for joining us as we continue to explore the possibilities.